siapa ni? Oh, Akira. Tim ICT dah ready dah?
Saya pun tak pasti
Tim
siapa
ICT.
tak ada lagi Afifi ke?
Kita buat live kan?
Buat live.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof. Apa khabar?
Alhamdulillah.
Prof.
Sound okay, sound?
Prof. Sound okay.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Boleh dengar, Prof?
Boleh, okay.
Okay. Kita nak start sekarang ke macam mana, Prof?
Tengoklah, dah ready ke semua?
Okay.
Semua dah ready kan?
Start, Prof. Nak check apa tu? Live Facebook je.
Okay.
Yep. Saya ada program lah ni. Nak hantar boleh bagi dekat Syarif tak? Jangan. Nanti saya check.
Dah siap, nanti bagi tahu Dr. Azliza.
Okay. Baik. Prof, I think kita boleh start sekarang.
Boleh start dah.
So saya akan boleh dah. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera to all participants. Thank you very much, Professor IRTS Dr. R. Badlisha Ahmad, our beloved Vice-Chancellor of UniMAP, University Malaysia Perlis, for allocating this slot to give motivation and also briefing for our postgraduate students, especially in graduate on time. So this is very important topic to all postgraduate students, Prof. So I hope that with this platform. Prof can share a lot of good points, and also Prof BC's experience in managing the postgraduate student to achieve the graduate on time. Okay, so please give our big applause to Prof BC to deliver his speech. Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to all. So how is everybody? Okay? I hope everyone is okay. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Hazliza.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, Prof.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Dr. Hazliza, representing School of Computer and Communication Engineering, for organizing this event, which I suppose is one of the very important agenda, especially for all the postgraduate students in UniMAP. And also would like to thank the Dean for giving the support and always giving supports for all postgraduate students, either for at the School of Computer Engineering or overall UniMAP in general. So Alhamdulillah, we are here. We have the opportunity to be here, and all the postgraduate. I think also there are a few academic staff as well following this talk. However, this talk is very short, 130 minutes. I try to complete within 15-20 minutes, so that I will allow a question and answer if there are any, so that this talk can be like a two-way discussion. I'm sure, because I cannot give all the very specific things or items in this very short period of talk. And also, Alhamdulillah, and for all of you, either student or academic staff, able to either supervise and also doing your postgraduate study, either in MSc or PhD level. For MSc, usually you are expected to complete within 1 to 2 years, and also for PhD within 3 to 4 years. So the journey is actually very long for all of you who has been sacrificed your time, your money, and your life throughout this sacrifice. And the time is actually very short. Once you engage or once you register your study, then you suddenly realize the time is very short. You have to speed up your pace and speed up your knowledge and skills, so that you are able to complete your studies. As I said earlier, for MSc, usually you are expected to complete within 1 to 2 years, and also PhD within 3 to 4 years. Throughout my experience, very rare that you can find student who manage to complete for masters within 1 year, so 12 months, or in PhD within 3 years. Although my talk is on GOT, graduate on time, but sometimes we also need to be very realistic whether you are able to complete within the minimum time of your studies. So by saying that time is very short, I do pray for you, for all of you, to focus your study. It's not very easy. As I said, you sacrifice your time, your money, and sometimes time with the family also. So it is expected that you are able to focus on your study, so that you are able to complete your studies. Number one, I would like to refresh, of course, for your niyat. In Islam, we call it niyat lah. For a non-Muslim, it's more like your intention of your study. You have to set or refresh your intention or your niyat on why you are doing this. You know, some people, they want to continue their studies because they want to get a better job, better salary, and sometimes because you are also pursuing or get promoted, and etc. Of course, there are many reasons why you are continuing your studies, But of course, the best intention is actually to improve your skills and your knowledge so that you can apply and give benefit to others, whether you are working at educational institution or you are working in an industrial environment. So this is very important because, as I said, sometimes if you pursue for the reason of getting a better job, get promoted, I mean, this is very subjective. You might not get what you want. So sometimes it's good to really understand why you are pursuing your postgraduate. And I just said before, the best intention is you doing your masters and PhD. Actually, you want to improve your skill and also your knowledge, and of course, you will apply and give a benefit to others. So if you look at the way MSc and PhD are conducted, doing MSc, PhD, actually by research means that you are exploring or creating new knowledge or new skills by mostly your own. I'm sorry, there's no slide, so I hope this is recorded so that you can re-watch and rewatch this video hopefully. And of course, I will. If you can email me, I can give you all the points that I'm the point of talk that I've given today. So coming back, you are doing MSc and research. By research means you are actually exploring or creating new knowledge and new skills, and mostly by your own. I mean, you have to really understand that. Of course, you have supervisor, but of course, by exploring or creating this new knowledge, the path is very tough, and of course, the supervisor are there to give the minimum assistance for you throughout your study. And at the end of your study, actually, the knowledge and the skills is totally yours, not your supervisor. So this is very important. So when you do masters or PhD by research, you have to always remember that whatever knowledge that you have gained from this path or from these studies is actually yours. Supervisors only can obtain like 10 or 20% of the knowledge that you have presented or that you have obtained, but mostly the knowledge is for you. So you have to remember that. So make sure you do this with the minimum assist from your supervisor throughout your journey of your study. So that's why it is very important for you to do your best. By saying that, it doesn't mean that your supervisor is not important. Of course, they are all very important to you. And always discuss with your supervisor, either you are doing well, or if you are stuck somewhere during your studies. Some students that I have supervised, usually when they're stuck, they don't have any progress, they are too afraid to see the supervisor. So please don't do that. I mean, supervisors are there to help, and if you don't come and see them, discuss with them, I mean, you will obviously will be astray and never come back to the path of these studies. So please be aware that although this journeys is very lonely journeys, the supervisors are expected that you are able to work independently, but at the same time, supervisors are there to help just in case you stuck somewhere and you don't even have any progress. So please do meet your supervisors regularly. Either you are doing well or you don't know what to do, because through the discussion, I mean, sometimes idea will come. So it is very important for you to discuss with your supervisor. Just having a talk, just discuss about what you have read throughout many papers, and give some ideas or your plan. Present it to your supervisor, and throughout the discussion, hopefully you will get some ideas on how you can continue your studies. So basically for MSc, normally it takes 12 months for full completion. Of course, 1 year and a half for full submissions. And for PhD, it is usually 3.5 years for submission, and then another six months just to wait for your viva. So please bear in mind of this duration. As I said, although for MSc Bioresearch the minimum duration is 12 months, but through statistics that there's not many, even not even 1% who can complete their MSc within 12 months. The same for PhD studies. Although the minimum duration is 12 months, but in average, people manage to only do the submission after 3.5 years for their PhD. So research actually can be split into 5 phases. This is throughout my experiences. Some supervisor might say 3 phases, maybe 4, maybe 7, or maybe 8 phases. But throughout my experience, I can split into 5 phases. Phase number 1 is called the literature review. This is where you will read, you will do a lot of reading through all these proceeding, journals, and all sorts of reading materials. Once you have done that, the second phase is the design of ideas or the design of solution. This is mainly the methodologies. This is very important. This is where your novelty, this is where your novelty of your work are considered. This is where usually the examiners will scrutinize or trying to make sure there are novelties in your work. And number 3 is simulation or experiments. So this is where the phase where you collect the data and try to get the base data out of your simulation or experiment. And phase number 4 is analysis. Once you have collected so many data, either in terms of the graphs or tables, but during your simulation experiment, you will find that there are so many data that you have, but you need to select the best one for your thesis. Once you have collected all the data, and then you perform the phase number 4 is you perform the analysis of the data and try to figure out the best data for your thesis. And the last one will be the writing. Some people thought writing is very simple, but it is not. It is as all the other 4 phases, either literature review, design of the ideas, do the experimental, and do the analysis. So writing is also part of the research that you are going to do, which is not as easy as you thought. And then for your information, when I give you these 4 phases, I mean, you can easily divide it into the duration of your studies, which is either 1.5 years for MSc or 3.5 years for PhD. So if you do this division, you will find out that for MSc, you can divide into 3 months for each of the phases. And also for PhD, you will be divided into 8 months for each of the phases. So that's for simple calculation. Of course, each phases might not have equal duration. So it's very important for you to understand or plan all these 5 phases throughout your studies. So if you really want to complete your studies within the GOT or graduate on time, you really need to plan properly all the phases that you have planned earlier. So if you miss some of the phases or you have extended some of the phases, then you might not be able to complete your studies within the stipulated or within the graduate on time duration. So it is very important for you to discuss with your supervisors on how you can effectively or plan each of the phases of your study. So I repeat again, the 5 phases of the research is: number 1, the literature review, and then your design of ideas or your solution, which is your methodologies, and this is where your novelty of your research are created. And then phase number 3 is the simulation or the experimental work that you have to do to obtain the data. Phase number 4 is the analysis of all the data, determine the performance of all your solution or all your ideas, which will be reflected into your writing. And lastly, phase number 5 is writing. As I said, looks very simple, but writing sometimes takes 1 year to be completed, depending on how fast your supervisor can read your writing. The supervisor, I think, need to be very fast in reading all your writings. At least for some supervisor would like to have every chapters of your thesis, chapter by chapter. Some they will say wait until all chapters completed. But for the supervisor, I think you have to read all the chapters one by one, chapters by chapters. And always remember, chapter 1 is the last chapter to be written, because chapter 1 reflect all your work, all from your chapter 2 up to the conclusion. So chapter 1 is actually conclusion of the conclusion, because it consists of all the introduction, your methodology, and your result, and of course your conclusion. So that are the 5 phases of your research that you have to observe and discuss properly with your supervisor.
Prof, sorry to interrupt. Can Prof on camera because we cannot see.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
Okay.
All this while, no face. All right, sorry. Okay,
Okay,
all
can
right,
see now.
all right. So once you completed all the phases, as I said, you have to discuss properly with your supervisors on how you perform, or you can predict when will your submission will be. So to be honest with you, in doing research, you have to be honest, you have to be sincere, and never cheat, especially the data. You know, when you do simulation, when you collect all the data, sometimes the result does not come out as what you expected. Then you're trying to cheat, adjust over there, adjust here. So that's really not being honest to your research, because usually examiner will be aware on your results. They might find it's very strange to have such results. So be sure to verify with your supervisor. If you have question on the result that you have obtained, make sure you consult with your supervisor and make sure the data is verified and acceptable for your writing of your thesis. So you know, once you completed MSc or PhD, don't expect you are not yet like Einstein. You know what, people expect that if you completed your MSc or you have completed your PhD, now you are same level of Einstein. No, this is just beginning of your work of becoming a scientist or researchers. So don't expect too high on whatever you have discovered in your studies, because the Nobel laureate, they spend like 20 years, 30 years to get their research work rewarded as a Nobel laureate. So it's not easy things to come out with a very novel or very new knowledge throughout your PhD. So it will take more times after you completed your master's or your PhD. So again, please don't think that you will become Einstein. Don't expect too high on your capabilities. Of course, what skills that you will produce once you completed your MSc or PhD is that you are able to come up with the new ideas, able to do analysis, able to present your issue or your research project to others, and this will help you able to complete your job once you are working as an academician or working at industries as a researcher. So again, completing your PhD or MSc by research is just a matter of obtaining skills and extended your knowledge in getting you become more effectively solve solution, solve any problems. It's like problem solving activities. So again, throughout your studies, you might find different ways of supervision. First of all, please be aware that your supervisor is not a perfect human being. They are not perfect. So please adopt their good practices and please avoid their bad practices, because you are not supposed to copy and paste your supervisor. I mean, you know what's good that they have presented to you, the way they treat you, the way they assist you. But not all supervisors are perfect. Some people might want to have a very strict supervisor. They want the supervisor to push him, to ask him every day what they have done, or they want you to be in the laboratory every day. And some supervisors is very flexible. They don't really care where you are. As long as you come and see them present your work or your data that you have obtained through your work, then he or she is fine as long as you have the data. I remember my supervisor, he don't really care about me. Whenever I meet him, we say, Budley, where's the results? All the time asking for me for the result. But it doesn't mean that he is not important or he's not helping. He's very helpful. He guide me very well. He read my thesis very thoroughly, and he also introduced me with the people who really can help me. So even though supervisor cannot help you in terms of some technical details, but supervisor is always there to help you in whatever means that they can. So again, please adopt their good practices and avoid their bad practices. You know which one is good, which one is bad. So again, don't copy and paste your supervisor. They are very good, but they are not a perfect human being. So lastly, I would like to end my talk and open up for question and answer. I hope that all of you enjoy your study, and one day you should able to contribute back to your society. At the end of this education, actually, what I do appreciate is that we are actually trying to learn how to solve problems. I know you have heard about problem solving since we studied the undergraduate. Problem solving is always in our curriculum. But even after you completed your master's or PhD, it is about how we are able to develop a skill for problem solving. So it is part of education to make you a person which can solve problem, not creating problems. So whether you are working as a researcher or academician, you are there to solve problems. Of course, within your knowledge, what you have obtained throughout your education. So with that, I end my talk. Basically, I think I will send this text, the content to Dr. Hasliza, so that if you want to have the point of my talk, you can ask Dr. Hasliza to give it to you. As I said, no slide because I'm sorry I couldn't prepare the slide, but these are the points that I think for all the postgraduate students really need to understand the reason of you being here and the reason for you to complete your postgraduate study. So thank you very much. So I give back to Dr. Asliza to open up a Q&A session. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you Yang Berbahagia Professor Vice-Chancellor for very motivating talk to our postgraduate students. So we hope that all postgraduate students can benefit from Prof. VC, all the tips lah. Okay, so now we open the session for the Q&A. So for those who have question can ask Prof. R. Badlisha. Any question?
I saw in the chatting. There's one question from Dr. Paklan. So he wanted to bagi tips kat supervisor. Okay, so the question is boleh, yeah, sure, no problem. So the question is, what are the tips to become a good supervisor? What's the tip to become a good supervisor? I think as supervisor, you have to be there with your student. Always be there through message or through email. Please make sure that you regularly meet your students because they need your help. Of course, you cannot give them the solution, but listening to them and guide them how to complete their work is very important. So number one is always be with your student, help them, guide them. If you cannot help or guide them, you need to find somebody else who can really help and guide them. Of course, as I said, we sometimes we don't know so many things. We are not perfect, so you must be there all the time with the student. Number two, I think this is also very important. Whenever you ask the student to write a summary of literature review or whatever report, please read it. Please read and give comment. What are the lacking of their reports and how can they improve? The supervisor must also give ideas, not necessarily hoping the student to give ideas on what they want to do. So you have to listen to the student, whatever they have read, ask them to present the ideas and immediately point the thing or point or what can they improve on their work. So be there, read their report, read very quickly. You don't read for one week or 1 month before you completed reading their report. Give at least 2 or 3 days. That's maximum. Give it back, discuss together, and find out the best solution to complete their studies. Give them ideas as well, and help them. Get somebody else to help the student if the student have difficulties to guide the student. So that's actually a tips for supervisor that I can give, because as I said, student they actually need our help. So make sure you are there every time they need your help. So okay, any more questions?
Okay, Prof. VC, we have another question from Muhammad Asad. For MBA program, can we take additional semester or short semester? So this one. Okay.
I think I'm not so sure whether I'm able to answer this question. I'm not so sure. I think you better check with the school or department who offer this MBA program. I'm not so sure whether it's supposed to be okay, but the problem is it's not that you are able to take additional semester or not. It's depending on the lecturers who are able to offer the subject, because sometimes the lecturers teach undergraduate program as well, so it's depending on the availability of the faculty to offer the subject. But I think you better consult the program chairperson of the MBA program and also to the dean. Okay.
Okay, so thank you, Prof. VC. So we move to other questions from anyone here, from the participant, whether students or potential students or potential supervisor, main supervisor or co-supervisor can ask question to our Prof. VC.
There's one question from Edward Baran, but I don't really understand the question.
Question. Okay.
How's your engineering studying? year limit. Sweating.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Maybe
who's
Edward Baran
here
should
nearing
elaborate.
study? Okay.
Yeah. Is Edward here? Maybe he can ask the question.
Okay, please on your microphone.
Mike. Yeah, Edward. Mr. Edward. Is Mr. Edward here? It's okay. You can just ask question, no problem. If I'm able to answer, I will answer. If not, I pass to Dr. Hasliza to answer it.
Okay, boleh Prof. Okay.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Perhaps they are quite scared,
Okay.
Prof.
Huh?
Quite scared to ask question.
Itulah.
Quite scared.
Dr. Asmiza, there's a question from Kenny Fon in the chat.
Kenny
Okay.
Fong.
Ken Fong.
Okay, I'd like to ask if there is a dual PhD program being offered in UniMAP. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kenny Fong, for asking this question. We recently we have passed dual PhD program. It is between UniMAP and also Yamanashi University. So hopefully we will offer this. It just recently been approved by the board of directors. And to know the details, you can ask the Dean of School of Computer and Communication Engineering, Professor Madhya Dr. Azremi, the details of this dual PhD program. But it is at this moment, it's only for School of Computer and Communication, the program only, but not for other schools. Okay. Okay, Edward. I see Edward question. I was
So
trying to
Prof.
confirm myself.
Okay, can
I
Prof
see.
help him?
Okay. First of all, Edward, I think 3 years. I'm not sure whether this is part time or full time, because there are maximum duration for studies. If you have reached to the maximum, I think you better drop the studies, better drop or request for extension. Please do not despair. I'm sure yeah, whatever you have done, that's why I'm saying the task or the role of the supervisor is very important for you to know where you are now, so that he or she are able to help you on what to do. So I don't know what to say, because it depending on what stage you are now. Either you are still in the literature review. I think for 3 years is too long for literature review, or you are in experimental or simulation phase where you are collecting the data. Until then, you are still not in. You don't have enough data. So I don't know which phase you are now. I think if your supervisor are unable to help you, I think you better talk with your program chairperson, or in fact, meet the dean and try to figure out what is the best way for you to complete your studies. It is just a matter of where you are now, so that the supervisor are able to guide you on what to do. Because all duration of the study, they have maximum duration. So you have to make sure if you are nearly at the end and we know that you are unable to complete it, might as well you drop and then you register a new one, so that you can have a fresh start. Okay, Edward. So I hope you can discuss with your supervisor and also your dean.
Good answer,
But 3
Prof.
years is too
Yes.
long. 3 years is too long.
Good answer for Edward's question. Yeah, I think that we hope that the response from Prof. VC can help the other students, especially master student, because from my experience itself, myself, we have this kind of problem, Prof. I mean, for the master student, they have difficulties in fulfilling the graduate on time, but for PhD student, the percentage of GOT is higher compared to master lah. So I think that master student need more motivation and also guidance, from from us.
So Edward, I think reply in the chat. So I think he's nearly finalizing the thesis. So data analysis, simulation, all seems okay, but I think you need to finalize your write up thesis writing. But please do not despair. Jangan putus asa. Keep trying. Do your best. Find the time to complete your studies. Inshallah, you will able to complete it. So there's one
Prof, we
question
have
from one Nur Fadina.
yeah. Shamimi,
Any tip
our
on
student,
staying?
our
Oh, okay.
master student. Okay.
Uh, I have to be honest with you. During my PhD study, I always cried a lot. I'm a
Oh,
guy, a man.
okay.
So cry. When I say crying, not necessarily the water drop out of my eyes, but sometimes it crying from inside. So it's very, very tough actually. So sometimes that's why I say in my talk, my point of talk, I say you have to look refresh on your intention. What's your niat of your doing this postgraduate studies? If you're looking for getting promotion, whatever, getting a good job salary, it's fine. But the real reason, the real good intention is to say to yourself, this is actually you want to improve yourself. You want to get a new knowledge. You want to have new skills. So you like it or not, you have to do it. You have to do whatever means to improve yourself. It's not about salary. It's not about promotion. It's about yourself. You're doing this for yourself. You want to improve yourself. You want to increase your knowledge, increase your skills. So hopefully that will motivate. In my case, I married last time, PhD. I married. I have 3 children. I said I need to complete these studies because I was studying in UK. So I like it or not, I have to complete, because if I did not complete my study, I have to pay the fine. I have to refund back all the sponsorship given by the universities to me. So it's very tough. I was married and I also had 3 children. So these are the things that always motivate me. I mean, I'm doing this for myself and also for my family, and remembering all the hardship of your families who has been sacrificed for you, either financially or time. So please do this for yourself. Please do this for yourself, and this will hopefully motivate yourself. Okay? Okay, Samimi, you're not happy, then you can come and see me. Maybe I can share my experiences throughout my studies last time. Very tough.
Another question, Prof, from Muhammad Anik.
Okay. Muhammad Anik.
Anik
Oh, Muhammad Anik.
Syami.
Is there opportunity for her to apply? So let's okay. At this moment, I think most universities has freezed the post for lecturers, because now we have a sufficient number of lecturers in compared to 5 or 6 years ago, where we are very new universities. But now we have more than enough number of lecturers, especially, but it depends on your area or specialization. But in UniMAP, at this particular moment, we don't accept any more new lecturer posts. Even we have lecturers still in contract base, so it's not permanent. So they are still waiting for the permanent post. So at this moment, it's very difficult to have this lecturer post within UniMAP. But you can try other universities like UITM, where there are more people will be retired soon. So then you have a chance over there. All right.
Okay, we have one long question, Prof, from Muhammad. Muhammad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Muhammad. Okay. Okay. It's about Toefl and Ielts.
Yeah, English.
Okay. I think regarding this Toefl and Ielts, I mean, it's a must for you to take this examination, because this is part of the requirement for you to do a master's or PhD. But however, there is one letter from MQA which allows you, I mean, no need to take the IELTS and TOEFL if your studies in MSc. Sorry, that one is research methodology. But in this case, still have, Dr. Azhar, still you have to take the IELTS and TOEFL. Because this is part of the
Yes, yes.
requirement.
For international student, Prof, Toefl and Ielts. However, we already lower down the score. Toefl 500, Ielts 5.5. So not that high
Okay,
compared to other.
regarding this course, I think we have a unit, Center of International Language, under Prof. Shamini. I think they do offer language courses. But then again, you have to get number of people so that we can offer this language courses for you. But then again, the IELTS and TOEFL is a must for you to take, because this is a requirement for enrollment for PhD and also MSc. Okay.
Okay, so
Alright.
any other questions from other participants? Can on the microphone. Tak ada soalan daripada lecturer ni, Prof.
Adalah, semua
Lecturer
good,
tak ada
good,
soalan ni.
all good.
Diorang ni dah power kot.
Please don't be shy. I think this is one of the culture of Malaysian. I mean, sometimes we are very shy. I mean, don't do that. You have, for master PhD, you have to put yourself into situation where you need to ask question. It doesn't matter. In fact, I would like to encourage you to argue with the supervisor. Argue. I mean, it's not necessary that you don't or you disrespect your supervisor. You just argue. Maybe then from the argument you will get the best result or the best solution. So it's nothing wrong to ask question and to argue, because at the end of the day you have to be prepared to present your work or to present your ideas to others. If you keep shying, trying to be safe, don't want to talk, I mean, it doesn't suit the purpose of you for taking this MSc or PhD studies. Once you completed master PhD studies, you have to put yourself where you are able to present your ideas. That's why the Viva voice is very tough, The examiner will ask you with so many questions, even question outside the scope of your work. Because the point is, during the Viva, we want to see your capability of explaining ideas, explaining the solution to others, so that they are able to understand, and whatever your ideas that you presented is worthwhile and beneficial to others as well. Itulah, lecturer pun tak nak tanya. Kecuali Pak Len nak
Okay,
tanya.
yeah, since that others do not want to ask questions, so I will ask one question. So, Prof, from your opinion, what is the main problems that faced by the students for not achieving the graduate on time? For master, we know that it's 2 years. For PhD, it's 4 years. So the major problems are, and what is the good solution to overcome this?
Okay. The main problem I would say here is that sometimes you want to do or you want to perform a research which is not within your capability. Because having ideas is very easy. I mean, once you read papers or you say you want to do this, you want to do that, but you fail to understand or you fail to assess whether you have the knowledge, or whether or the university, in fact, has the facilities or not. So once you fail to identify these things, usually you will either extended your studies or you will fail your studies. Usually MSc, you don't fail. Usually, mostly you are unable to complete your studies. So number one is, you, as I said, very important to discuss with the supervisor whether you have the capability or the knowledge of the subject matters. And number two is, make sure the university or you yourself have the facility to perform the experimental work, so that you are able to get the data. As I said, one of the important phase of your research is to get the data through simulation or through experimental works. Even if you have a very good idea, and you are unable to obtain or to produce the data or the result, of course, you will not be able to complete your work because you don't have the data. So how come you will not be able to write your thesis? No data. So this is the main important thing. Lagi apa tadi soalan tu? For the mostly student fail. Another one?
Apa ni, solution to overcome that, the major problem tadi.
So again, you have to understand what is your capability, what is your strength, what knowledge that you are able to go deep into. Because master PhD, you have to dig very deep. If you don't have the fundamental knowledge or the basic knowledge, you will not able to complete your studies. So understand your strength. Just don't simply choose a title where you think is very great title or great research that you want to do. As I say, you are not Einstein. So you don't expected to be an Einstein once you completed your master or PhD. Master PhD is meant for you to develop or to polish your skill to obtain knowledge and to create new knowledge. Okay, so I see a few questions here from Muhammad Khalil. Salam. Oh, this agent. All right. I think for the agent, you can contact Dr. Tunku Salaha, which is the director for Center for International Exchange Engagement. So please do contact with Dr. Tunku Salaha to become an agent to promote university and to get students to come and register in UniMAP. Thank you. Okay, ni ada soalan Siti Julia Rosli. What tips can you share?
Our slide, Prof.
Okay. Siti Julia, I know her. All right, nervous is something you cannot avoid. This is normal. To be honest with you, the examiner is also very nervous. The examiner, the one who evaluate you, they are also nervous. They have a nervous to make sure that the question that they will ask is related to your work. So actually nervous, it will be there. But to avoid this, I think practice is very good things that you need to do. I mean, if you are not confident, ask your supervisor to become the examiner or ask other lecturers to listen to your presentation. They are very happy to help. They will ask you with so many questions, no problem. So try to arrange for pre-viva session either with your supervisor or other your colleague of your supervisor or the other lecturers, and then present it to them. Make them understand. Let them ask question, even stupid question or even question is beyond your scope. So it's very important. So to avoid nervous is actually prepare for a viva. Do more than one pre-viva, or we call it mock viva. All my students will ask them to do a mock viva. I mean, a viva that really prepare them for the real viva. Okay, and then I have from Joshua.
Yes.
Toluluk Majak Koduni. Can the school provide fund for publication? The power is low. I think it's depending on the school and also for the supervisors. Usually school have very minimum funding for publication. And recently, I think UniMAP, we have offer, we call it initiative, publication initiative. I think you have to discuss with your supervisor so that the supervisor can request to the school or to the universities so that they can able to fund the publication. Of course, we cannot fund the full amount of publication. Usually university will give some or subsidize some of the cost of the publication. So talk to your supervisor so that your supervisor can talk to the dean, and also the dean can also talk with the RMC, Research Management Center, to help funding some of the publication. Also Muhammad Asad, since combining postgraduate and understanding duration to October is difficult to graduate on time due to postponement program, can you give some advice on handle it? Okay. All right, since this pandemic COVID-19, we have some difficulties to accept a student during this time. Actually, we do accept student postgraduate at any time, but then again, you need to pay the fee, and also there are things that you have to fulfill. I mean, through the immigration and so on. I mean that the calculation of the fees depending on when you register. So sometimes when the semester, we have 2 semesters actually. If you register very at the end of the semester, I think sometimes the supervisor or the postgraduate asks you to delay your registration so that you can register at the beginning of the semester to avoid you paying higher higher fee for the registration. So that's the reason. But it's really up to you. If you want to join in at any time, but any time during at the end of semester, we still will charge you. But it might dissatisfy you because you spend very short time of that semester, but then we charge you. So that's why we always advise the student to register at the beginning of the semester to avoid charge you heavily on that one.
Prof,
Okay,
sorry to interrupt.
but
We have one question, Prof, from Facebook. From our student, also PhD student, could you please make the admission easy to get with less than 1 month? No?
sorry, because the line was disconnected.
Okay.
Okay,
Prof,
okay. So what?
can
Yeah,
I continue just now? We
yeah,
have
yeah.
one
Sure, sure.
question from Facebook. Could you please make the admission easy to get with less than 1 month?
Oh, okay. All
Okay.
right, all
Menjawab
right, all
soalan ni.
right. I think, yeah, I will try to discuss with the Director of Center for Graduate Studies and also with the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Academic to make it faster to accept. But then again, sometimes the difficulty is to verify your documents and also to get a supervisors for you. It takes some time. But then again, depending on the complete documentation that you submitted, and also choosing the supervisor, I think we are able to provide 1 month. But then again, as I said, some documentation sometimes is not complete, and finding the supervisors also it takes sometimes. But of course, we are trying to make it faster to be able to accept you. I think Dr. Azliza know what's the issues of the delay for the
Yes, yes.
processing.
Yes, true, Prof. Perhaps we can suggest conditional offer letter, Prof. Conditional offer
I
letter
think that's
like
good as well.
USM did.
Right, right. That can be considered as well, inshallah.
Okay, okay. So we go for the next question. Nur Ashbahani Muhammad
Asmahani,
Kecil.
okay.
Yeah.
What's the
How to
question?
know
Because,
that
okay,
how to know that our work has not been done yet? Do we need to validate it by publishing a paper?
Okay. Yeah, one of the criteria to make sure that your work is novel or has not been done yet is through publication. but it's not a guarantee. But anyway, that will help you to identify or to make sure that your work is novel and nobody have done it before. Apart from that, I think you yourself should find it whether your work is novel or whether your work is new throughout the reading. You have to find. I'm sure you can find it through the Scopus database, through ResearchGate. I think nowadays to get papers throughout the internet is quite easy. So it is very important for you to know what you have done is quite novel. And of course, through the supervisor. The supervisor should be able to identify whether your work is novel, then and whether it is able to be extended for further work, and then for you to able to write a thesis on that. But again, you have to determine it yourself, because this is very important question during the Viva. They will ask you where's the contribution of your work. So in order to do that, you have to explain to yourself. You have to explain. For example, I think the best answer is you tell them there are researchers who also working in this area, but their method is a bit different from what you have done. For example, he has done this technique, A plus B technique, and your work is a new ways, new technique, which is combination of several techniques, which these techniques are the best technique available or presented in the paper. So you come up with this idea. So that's the only way where you are able to know that your work is new. Okay.
Okay, so next question from Shamsuddin. Salam Prof, can you share more on postdoctoral program in UniMAP?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, we very much would like to have a postdoc program. We do offer the postdoc program. At this moment, because we are not in very good financial status, but we do offer postdoc program for others who would like to enroll in UniMAP. So what we offer you, if you have a financial means, that we will give you some amount of money. But at this moment, we don't have much. What we have now is that you are able to register as a postdoc without any fee. You just choose whoever that you wish to become your supervisor to guide you for your postdoctorate program. And we, at the end of your postdoc program, we will give you certificates of completion. So at this moment, we do offer postdoc program, but we don't have any financial means yet. We don't pay allowance for you. But if you wish to do postdoc, we do offer you a free postdoc program without any fees. And once you completed the minimum requirement, then we will produce certificates of completion of the postdoc program in UniMAP. What you need is just choose whoever that you think suitable to supervise you or to guide you throughout your postdoc program. The more details can be obtained from the director of Center of Postgraduate Studies.
Okay, so next question from Surtaria. How about conducting research methodology lectures? And I am a PhD student from Indonesia.
Oh,
So,
how to conduct research methodology?
Yeah. Yes, Prof. Lectures.
I think it's very. I think it's quite similar to whatever we have conducted. Now for PhD, eh?
For PhD.
All right.
True,
Okay.
Prof.
Before that, if you have done MSc by research before, you will not need to take research methodology course for your PhD. You will be exempted. That's a new regulation from MQA. Okay, if you have taken research methodology or your master's is by research, you will be exempted from research methodology for PhD. So back to the question, how to conduct research methodology? I think we do offer, right, Dr. Azhar? We do offer research methodology courses, right? So
Yes,
it can
yes,
be
true.
so it can be done either face to face or through online. So I think the school better discuss with the school or the faculty on how to conduct this research methodology courses suited for you.
Okay, so next question. Prof, I want to ask if should the PhD students do ISI, SCI publication before Viva from Hebamo? Our alumni, Prof. MSc
Oh,
alumni.
Hiba, I know this
Hiba,
handsome
Hiba.
lady.
Yeah.
Hiba. I think UniMAP has criteria for you before you submit your thesis. You should have published papers, right? There are points. I cannot remember the points, but it's really very easy. It is achievable. I think 3 point or 4 points based on that. So the question is whether you should publish before your Viva. Yes, I think it's very important. Because once your paper is published, so during the Viva, at least you have confidence and you can present to your examiner that your work has some sort of novelty. That means your work has been published and the community has accepted your work to be novel. But again, it is not a guarantee, but it just boosts your confidence level during the Viva. Number two is that once you have published your papers before the Viva, I think it's easier for you to get a job because it's not enough for you if you just completed your master's or PhD without any publication. So if you're trying to get a job outside, they will look into, I'm sure they will ask you, how many publications have you produced during your studies? So number one is that you have the confidence once you publish in ISI or Scopus. So during the Viva, you will have some confidence. Number two is that it will help you to get a good job once you completed your postgraduate study. So these two things I think is very important. Of course, it is. To be honest with you, you don't need to publish anyway. You can get your PhD because Viva is solely on. Sorry, the whether you pass or fail is solely determined during the Viva. So in fact, publication is not counted, but it will give some confidence to you and also to the examiners to evaluate your work and hopefully you will get a good job once you completed your studies. Oh, there's a point. PhD 10 point. What's the minimum points? There's a minimum point. Try to achieve the minimum point as possible if you really want to complete your studies earlier. But then again, if you have many, I think you will get, or hopefully you will get a good job because they will always see your publication. If you manage to publish more during your studies, that even better.
Uh, regarding this question, Prof, I think the concern of the student, especially for the PhD student, whether they should publish the ISI or Science Citation Index paper or not. I mean, with the impact factor, because we know that these ISI journals are difficult to be published.
Okay.
Uh,
So as I
so
said, before, I think there are requirements for the thesis submission, right? So if you have a problem in writing, you just fulfill the minimum. But then again, it depending on your supervisors. So try to get the minimum points for you to be able to publish the papers because it's criteria for thesis submission. But then, as I said, if you publish more, I mean, it's good for you. So for during the Viva and for you to get a good job after you completed your studies. I think it's depending on the point, right? Depending on the point.
Okay, good point, Prof. Okay, so we move to the last question of today. What's the minimum of PhD defense proposal? Is it possible to defend within 7 months?
For PhD? PhD
Yeah,
or
for
MSc?
PhD. PhD, Prof.
Okay.
PhD for proposal
All right.
defense.
All right. I think for proposal defense, what the university is looking for is that the ideas or the hypothesis is acceptable for PhD level. So it doesn't matter within 6 months or within 7 months. I think if you are able to produce a good hypothesis or a very good idea, so you are able to present it. Of course, you have to request permission from the schools. So then again, as I said, it's matter of whether your ideas is sufficient for your PhD level. If not, then they will ask you to do more. But sometimes during the proposal defense, I mean, we don't expect you to produce the full results. At least get some ideas. As long as you can defend your ideas is new. I think that's very important during proposal defense. They will ask you what's something new, what the contribution you will give. So that's very important for the proposal defense. Of course, if you have a preliminary data or preliminary results to show that your techniques, I'm sure you will have more than one techniques. If you can perform the preliminary data for one technique, so that the examiner will be able to appreciate your work for your PhD works. So it's about make sure that your new ideas is acceptable for MSc or for PhD. The duration is not a matter. You can present during 6 months, within 6 months, within 7 months is really up to you. But the point is to make sure that you have the content, your new ideas is acceptable for the studies that you are going to do.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. VC, Prof. R. Badlisha. So I think that we already exceed the time. It's
Yeah,
already
it took me 30 minutes
9.
only. Now nearly 1
Yeah.
hour.
Sorry for taking your precious time, bro.
No problem,
Okay,
no
so
problem.
yeah, actually we are enjoying this session, and we got a very good feedback from the lecturer
Alhamdulillah.
itself, from the students. We have a lot of questions, and we hope that Prof talk, Prof Badlisha talk can help and also guide them lah. Because actually Prof Badlisha is also my former dean, and also the one who guide me, and in fact still guiding me for the supervision and also for the research. Yeah, very interesting meeting. So I hope that all participants, lecturers, student, postgraduate student enjoy this talk and can take benefits from this talk. So is there any last point, Prof? I mean,
Okay. Last one. I hope to all the postgraduate, as I said, it's very tough journey. You have to have patience. You have to sacrifice your time, your effort, and do not despair. Jangan putus asa. Keep doing it. I'm sure there will be ways to solve whatever problem that you are facing. Please do have a discussion. Just don't run away from whatever you are doing. Even it will take longer time for you to complete. Even it will take more time, more money. Try as much as possible to complete your study. And this will make you a better person, a better human being, so that you can contribute back to the society.
okay. So with this very good tips from Prof. Arbatisha, I hope that all of you are getting inspired, yeah, and continue your journey as a master or PhD student, and end your journey in a very good way and graduate on time.
Inshallah.
Session today, can you please on all cameras because we want to take pictures.
Okay.
Take pictures with Prof. VC. Very hard because Prof. VC is always busy.
Always busy.
Okay. Always busy.
I'm in the hotel now, going back Perlis tonight. So
Yeah.
luckily we have the online system.
Yeah. Boleh juga slot in Prof.
Boleh, no problem.
Okay, Isma. Isma, are we ready? Dr. Isma? Dr. Isma?
Jalal, can you stop presenting. Okay.
Okay, so everyone on the camera.
And look at the camera.
Look at the camera. Smart. Big smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, done. Okay, so thank you very much to all. Don't forget to fill up the Google form for the attendance and also e-certificate. We give the e-certificate to all participants, Prof.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good.
After they fill up, then automatically our system will email to them.
Okay. I will give you the point of my talk so that Dr. Ijazah can share with all of them later on.
Okay, inshallah.
Okay.
So
All right.
thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We will meet again.
All right. Okay. See you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Thank you.